Have you been told that declining health, loneliness, and financial struggles are just inevitable parts of aging? If you're over 60, you've probably accepted that certain problems come with getting older, but groundbreaking research involving over 8,000 seniors proves otherwise. The 5 behaviors you're about to learn to avoid could be the difference between thriving in your golden years and watching your quality of life slowly deteriorate. What you're about to discover challenges everything most people believe about aging successfully. These aren't small issues. They're life-altering mistakes that can lead to serious health problems, social isolation, financial ruin, and deep regret. But here's the empowering truth: every single one of these mistakes is completely preventable when you know what to watch for. You're here because you want to avoid the pitfalls that can make your later years difficult, and that's exactly what we're going to address. But here's the thing: you're also going to learn why these mistakes happen so gradually that most people don't recognize them until significant damage is already done. The 5th mistake I'll discuss is the most overlooked but potentially the most devastating to your long-term happiness. The reality is that 78% of seniors make at least 3 of these mistakes without realizing the long-term consequences. But you have the power to recognize and prevent them. Please watch every minute, because understanding these mistakes could be the difference between living your best life after 60 or spending your golden years dealing with problems that were completely avoidable. Mistake number 1: neglecting physical health and fitness. This first mistake will help you understand why small compromises in physical activity and health maintenance can snowball into life-threatening problems. Meet Betty, a 72-year-old retired nurse who gradually began making small compromises after retirement. Betty started skipping her morning walks on cold days, choosing convenient processed foods when cooking felt like too much effort, and postponing routine medical checkups because she felt fine. Within 2 years, Betty noticed significant changes. She felt winded. After climbing stairs, her balance became unsteady, and routine blood work revealed concerning changes in her cholesterol and blood sugar levels. When Betty recommitted to daily walks, improved her nutrition, and scheduled regular medical care, she was amazed at how much better she felt and how many health problems were caught before they became serious. Here's what Betty discovered: the physical decline many people accept as inevitable aging is often the result of gradual neglect rather than the natural aging process, and much of it can be prevented or reversed with consistent self-care. Research from the National Institute on Aging shows that seniors who maintain regular physical activity and preventive healthcare experience significantly less age-related decline and maintain independence much longer. Studies conducted at Harvard Medical School found that even modest increases in daily activity can prevent or reverse many health problems that people assume are inevitable with aging. How can you tell if you're making the mistake of neglecting your physical health? Pay attention to whether you've reduced physical activity because it feels harder, started choosing convenience over nutrition, or avoided medical checkups because you don't want to hear bad news. You might notice that simple tasks feel more difficult than they used to, or that you've stopped activities you once enjoyed because they seem too challenging. These aren't inevitable parts of getting older. They're warning signs that your body needs more attention and care. The good news is that your body remains remarkably responsive to positive changes even in your 70s and 80s. Start by committing to just 15 minutes of daily movement, whether that's walking, stretching, or light strength exercises, and gradually build consistency rather than intensity. What's wonderful is that taking care of your physical health often provides immediate improvements in energy, mood, and confidence, and you'll discover that feeling strong and capable enhances every aspect of your life. Additionally, prioritize regular medical checkups, maintain a diet rich in whole foods, stay hydrated, and never ignore symptoms that persist or concern you. If you've been putting off health-related activities because they seem difficult, you understand how much better life becomes when you prioritize physical well-being as a foundation for everything else. Mistake number 2: withdrawing from social connections. This one might surprise you because social isolation often feels like a natural response to life changes, but it can devastate both mental and physical health more than most people realize. Consider Stanley, a 76-year-old widower who gradually withdrew from social activities after his wife passed away. Stanley told himself that he didn't want to be a burden on friends and that people were too busy with their own lives. Over 18 months, Stanley went from having regular contact with friends and family to spending most days alone with minimal human interaction. Stanley began experiencing memory problems, increased anxiety, and persistent sadness. When Stanley's daughter insisted he join a senior center and reconnect with old friends, he was reluctant, but agreed. Within weeks, Stanley noticed dramatic improvements in his mood memory and overall outlook. The social engagement provided mental stimulation, emotional support, and a sense of purpose that solitude couldn't replace. What Stanley learned: social isolation doesn't just affect happiness. It has measurable negative effects on brain function, immune system strength, and overall health that can accelerate aging and increase disease risk. Evidence from longevity research shows that social isolation has health impacts equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes daily, significantly increasing risks of dementia, heart disease, and premature death. Studies conducted at the University of Michigan found that seniors who maintain active social connections show better cognitive function, stronger immune systems, and greater life satisfaction. What are the warning signs that you might be withdrawing from social connections in harmful ways? Watch for declining invitations more frequently, making fewer efforts to contact friends and family, or feeling that social interactions require too much energy. You might notice that you've stopped participating in activities you once enjoyed, avoid making new social connections, or tell yourself that others are too busy to spend time with you. These patterns suggest that isolation is becoming a harmful habit rather than a healthy choice. Here's the empowering truth: maintaining social connections is essential health care for your brain and body, and it's never too late to rebuild or strengthen your social network. Begin with reaching out to one person you haven't contacted recently, whether through a phone call, text message, or simple note, and gradually increase your social activities based on your energy and interests. The rewarding aspect is that social connections often create positive cycles where engagement leads to better mood, which makes further social interaction more appealing and natural. Additionally, consider joining groups based on your interests, volunteering for causes you care about, or learning to use technology that helps you stay connected with distant family and friends. Anyone who has experienced the difference between isolation and connection understands how much social engagement contributes to feeling alive, engaged, and mentally sharp. But this is nothing compared to what comes next. Mistake number 3: refusing to adapt to necessary changes. What I'm about to share will help you understand why resistance to change, especially technological and lifestyle adaptations, can leave you increasingly isolated and vulnerable. Let me tell you about Marilyn, an 80-year-old woman who prided herself on maintaining traditional ways of doing things, but gradually found herself struggling as the world changed around her. Marilyn refused to learn any technology, insisting that her old flip phone and paper-based systems were sufficient. She avoided online banking, rejected offers to help her learn video calling, and dismissed modern safety equipment as unnecessary. Over time, Marilyn found herself unable to communicate with grandchildren who used digital platforms, struggling with services that had moved online, and missing out on conveniences that could have made her life easier and safer. When Marilyn finally agreed to learn basic smartphone functions and online services, she was surprised by how much these tools improved her independence and connection with family. The truth is, refusing to adapt to necessary changes doesn't preserve your independence. It gradually erodes it by making you increasingly dependent on others for tasks you could learn to handle yourself. Studies from technology adoption research show that seniors who embrace basic technological literacy maintain greater independence and social connection than those who resist learning new skills. Research conducted at Stanford University found that adaptability to necessary changes is a key factor in successful aging and maintaining quality of life. How do you know if resistance to change might be limiting your quality of life? Look out for avoiding learning new skills that could improve your daily life, insisting on doing things the hard way when easier methods exist, or feeling frustrated when services you're used to are no longer available. You may find yourself becoming increasingly dependent on others for tasks that require new knowledge or missing out on opportunities because they require adapting to new formats or technologies. These indicators suggest that selective adaptation could significantly improve your independence and opportunities. What's hopeful is that learning new skills and adapting to changes doesn't require abandoning your values. It means staying flexible enough to maintain your independence and connections. You can start today by identifying one change that could genuinely improve your life and taking small steps to learn about it. And, step by step, build confidence with new approaches while maintaining what works well from your traditional methods. The amazing thing is that successfully adapting to one change often builds confidence for handling future changes more easily. And you'll discover that flexibility often leads to discovering improvements you never expected. Mistake number 4: mismanaging financial resources and security. This particular mistake is devastating because financial problems in later life are often irreversible and can force dependence on others or severely limit your options. Picture Paul, a 74-year-old retired teacher who had saved diligently for retirement but made several financial mistakes that gradually eroded his security. Paul overspent in his early retirement years, assuming his savings would last indefinitely, failed to plan for increasing healthcare costs, and fell victim to a financial scam that cost him $20,000. Paul also neglected to adjust his budget as inflation reduced his purchasing power and avoided discussing finances with family members who could have provided guidance. By his late 70s, Paul found himself struggling to cover basic expenses and forced to depend on his children for financial support. Paul realized that financial security in retirement required ongoing attention and planning, not just having money saved. Here's the reality: financial security after 60 requires active management, careful planning, and protection against common threats that specifically target seniors, and poor financial decisions can quickly destroy decades of careful saving. Research from financial gerontology shows that seniors who actively manage their finances, plan for increasing expenses, and protect themselves against fraud maintain financial independence significantly longer. Studies conducted at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau found that financial scams targeting seniors result in billions of dollars in losses annually, with devastating impacts on victims' quality of life. What are the warning signs that you might be making financial mistakes that could threaten your security? Be aware of spending without considering long-term sustainability, failing to plan for increasing health care and living costs, or avoiding financial planning because it seems too complicated. You might notice that you're vulnerable to financial scams or high-pressure sales tactics, making major financial decisions without consulting trusted advisors or avoiding discussions about finances with family members. These patterns indicate that your financial approach may need adjustment. The good news is that taking control of your finances is possible at any age and can provide both immediate peace of mind and long-term security. Start with creating a realistic budget that accounts for your current income and expenses, including planning for potential increases in healthcare costs. And gradually educate yourself about protecting against financial scams and making your money last throughout your lifetime. What's wonderful is that financial planning often reveals opportunities to optimize your resources and reduce unnecessary expenses, and you'll experience the confidence that comes from knowing you're taking active steps to protect your independence. Which of these mistakes have you noticed in your own life or the lives of people you care about? Let me know in the comments. And if you're finding these insights helpful, make sure to subscribe because we share important information for seniors that can help prevent costly mistakes and improve quality of life. People who have experienced financial stress understand how much peace of mind comes from taking proactive steps to protect and manage their resources wisely. However, the most overlooked mistake is still ahead. Mistake number 5. Abandoning personal growth and purpose. Now, for the most overlooked but potentially devastating mistake. This one is particularly dangerous because giving up on learning growth and purpose can accelerate cognitive decline and rob your later years of meaning. Let me tell you about Irene, an 81-year-old former librarian who had always been curious and engaged, but gradually fell into a pattern of passive living after retirement. Irene spent most days watching television, avoided trying new activities, and told herself that her learning days were over. Over 3 years, Irene noticed that her memory seemed less sharp, her interests had narrowed, and she felt increasingly bored and purposeless. When Irene's granddaughter encouraged her to take an art class at the local community center, Irene initially resisted, but eventually agreed. Learning watercolor painting not only provided Irene with a new skill and creative outlet, but also connected her with other learners, challenged her mind in new ways, and gave her a sense of accomplishment and purpose she had been missing. Irene realized that growth and learning didn't have age limits, and that staying mentally active was essential for maintaining cognitive function and life satisfaction. Here's what Irene discovered: the brain remains capable of forming new connections and learning new skills throughout life. But without challenge and stimulation, cognitive abilities decline much faster than they would with continued engagement and growth. Evidence from neuroscience research shows that lifelong learning and maintaining a sense of purpose are among the strongest predictors of cognitive health and life satisfaction in later years. Studies conducted at the Rush Alzheimer's Disease Center found that seniors who continue learning new skills and maintain a sense of purpose show significantly slower rates of cognitive decline. How can you tell if you've abandoned personal growth in ways that might be limiting your potential and happiness? Pay attention to whether you avoid learning new things because you think you're too old, have stopped setting goals, or looking forward to future experiences, or feel that your most meaningful years are behind you. You might notice that you've become passive in your daily life, avoiding challenges that could provide growth opportunities, or telling yourself that learning and change are for younger people. These attitudes suggest that reconnecting with growth and purpose could significantly improve your mental health and life satisfaction. Here's the empowering truth: your capacity for learning growth and meaningful contribution doesn't diminish with age. It simply requires intentional cultivation and the willingness to challenge limiting beliefs about what's possible. Begin with identifying one area of interest you'd like to explore or develop, whether that's a creative skill, intellectual pursuit, volunteer opportunity, or personal project. And gradually commit time and energy to activities that challenge your mind and give you something meaningful to work toward. The amazing thing is that pursuing growth and purpose often leads to unexpected opportunities, new relationships, and a renewed sense of vitality. And you'll discover that age can actually provide advantages like patience, wisdom, and freedom from some of the pressures that limit younger people's exploration. This alone could transform your later years from a period of decline into a time of continued discovery, contribution, and personal fulfillment that makes every day feel meaningful and rewarding. Looking back, these 5 mistakes reveal that many problems people attribute to inevitable aging are actually the result of choices that can be changed at any time. Neglecting physical health, withdrawing socially, resisting necessary changes, mismanaging finances, and abandoning growth don't have to define your later years. The good news is that recognizing these mistakes gives you the power to make different choices starting today. You're not too old to improve your health, rebuild social connections, learn new skills, take control of your finances, or pursue meaningful goals. Every positive change you make can improve your quality of life and independence. If you've recognized yourself in any of these mistakes, know that awareness is the first step toward positive change, and it's never too late to choose a different path forward. Tonight or today, choose one area where you'd like to make a positive change and take one small step toward improvement. Whether that's scheduling a medical checkup, calling an old friend, learning something new, reviewing your budget, or pursuing an interest you've been postponing. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share which mistake resonated most with your experience and one change you're committed to making. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to having you join us again in the next video.